Welcome. I'm Bernice Ross, the CEO and President of BrokerageUp and RealEstateCoach.com.
And my name is Greg McDaniel. I'm the co-host and co-founder of the wildly famous and successful podcast, Real Estate Uncensored. But today, Bernice and I come to you as Real Estate Coach Uncensored.
So, Greg, we have a really fantastic show for everybody today. It's called 5 Hot Marketing Campaigns for Today's Market. As we head into the end of the year and we start planning for the new year, the question is, every year it's the same thing. Where can I get the best return for my money from my marketing efforts? And what we're going to talk about today are some new trends that you may not recognize yet or may not realize, and how you can create your marketing to reach the people that you need to reach using these campaigns. So, Greg, the first one is related to a lot of people right now due to COVID are in what we call forbearance, and that means that they've delayed their mortgage payments. And Tammy Bonell, who's the CEO of Exit Realty, had this to say, and I thought this was so fascinating. She said in the Great Recession, people were able to do short sales, and it wasn't an issue. They could walk away. Well, what she's hearing right now for her lenders is the following. Let me give you a direct quote on this. One of the things I'm hearing from a financial standpoint is that there's going to be zero tolerance for strategic defaults, where homeowners paid all their bills and deliberately did not pay their mortgage. During the recession, they were able to short sale their home and they got away with a lot. This time, the lenders are going to be looking at your credit report, and if whether or not you've been skipping other payments, because they're not going to make that same mistake twice. And there was an article recently where Gary Keller said there's a major potential pitfall lurking in the market, which is the potential for a high number of forbearances. And if we get to the second quarter of 2021, and a number of those loans are still in forbearance, we can see homes begin moving off the market and into foreclosures. So, Greg, this is a pretty big trend. What's your take on this, just from someone, you've been through 2 downturns and we've dealt with foreclosures?
This is obviously going to be a really big opportunity for real estate agents. Now, we're not going to prey on people's misery, but we do have to represent people that need our services to the highest level of ethics that we can possibly work at. And so what I would say is, look, start building relationships with these people. And if you know what, they don't need your assistance, that's a more beautiful day ever. But if they do need your assistance and they do fall into a hole they can't climb out of, guess what? You guys are going to be there. You're going to be able to help these folks and help them get back on their feet and turn their financial situation around. So I would start paying attention to what's happening in the marketplace and start building the relationships immediately.
So here's marketing campaign number 1. You can do this as a postcard or as a cold call. Are you unable to keep up your mortgage payments? Contact me about what to do. Here's the script. Do you know someone who's been unable to make their mortgage payments due to COVID-19 and are in forbearance? If so, they may be facing foreclosure. Contact me for options to avoid facing foreclosure. So, Greg, what would you be saying if you were doing this as a cold call?
I've been thinking about that and kind of how I'd come across it. Because 1, it's a cold call. It's not, they weren't expecting it. 2, you don't want to come off and you don't want to speak about something that they haven't made public, right? Like, oh, I'm in forbearance, or I have forbearance on my house. Well, that could become very sensitive. So my thought pattern behind the scripting would be something like this. Hi, is this the owner of, 123 Main Street? Yeah, what do you want? Oh, I personally don't want anything. I'm actually just doing some calls into the neighborhood. I'm a local real estate professional with ABC Real Estate. And I wanted to call around and just see kind of I'm doing a survey today. And I'd love to understand, what's your take on the forbearance? Where do you think the market is going? And have you heard of anyone that might be thinking of selling? Because I have some interesting programs that might help them either stay in their home or help them get down payment assistance on their next home. So what have you seen in the marketplace, and where do you think it's going?
I love that script. Excellent, excellent script. A great cold calling script. And again, if somebody responds to your postcard marketing campaign, I gave you the script for that. You've got something now that you can say to them. So what, Greg just said, this is perfect. Okay, let's go to campaign number 2, need a different house.
All right.
What we're seeing right now, a lot of people have discovered they need a different house, right, Greg? What are you seeing in your market?
You wouldn't believe it. I've seen people, I mean, we're seeing a mass exodus out of, San Francisco proper. They're coming into the East Bay. Then the East Bay is pushing out into the Central Valley. We're seeing a migration east, which is very fascinating because typically you see east to west, people hoard on the coastal sides, right? Not everybody, but there's a large clustering there. And so we're seeing people, when we have listings that are big properties. I have one personally, it's a $5 million lot. And you know what? This developer came in and he already has a nice, big, beautiful house, but it's more of a tract of homes. He went, talked his wife into it. They bought the whole thing. They're going to build and live in the back lot. Then they're going to sell the third lot, the second lot, and the first lot off. And it's going to be their own little compound. And they're basically all going to be friends and family. They're going to live with them. So we're seeing that take place very quickly. And land is getting developed and snatched up around here like you wouldn't believe, for people just to either live on or develop it out and put larger lots.
Well, Greg, one of the things, Daryl Fairweather, who is the economist for Redfin, had these numbers. They had surveyed a number of their users, and this is what they found, what people are looking for. So, and you can target each one of these marketplaces using REI Source. And on that REI Source, this is a resource from your title company. They charge 5 to 10 cents per name, but you can target. So what they said from the Redfin research, 21% want more outdoor or recreational space, 13% want a bigger yard, and or 10% want a bigger home. Another 21% wants designated space for working from home, and 7% want a separate space for their children to learn. So Greg, you had a great idea here that I love. This is the notion of the stair step. Tell us a little bit more about that.
A stair step is basically like what we've already experienced with buyers, right? So they go from the first apartment, then they move into the first condo or townhouse, most of them, then the first small house, then they have the second kid, go to the bigger house, and then they buy the trophy house, live in the trophy house. Kids go to college, they downsize into the other house, and because they don't need to clean and heat 5,000 square feet or 10,000 square feet or whatever the house is going to be. And so what I was thinking in my brain is, how do we leverage this? Well, go to your title, get all the studios, market them a 2-bedroom house. All the 1-bedrooms, market them a 3-bedroom house. All the 2-bedrooms, 4. You see where I'm going with this, right? And then you go to the 0.10, like a tenth of an acre, right? And then you market them a third of an acre. The third of an acre, 7/10 of an acre. 7/10 of an acre, 2 acres. You just kind of build that out. Watch that daisy chain, that stair step effect take place, because you're going to find people that have different needs and different wants in all those different categories. And you're going to drop a unique opportunity that's hyper specific to their realities.
So Greg, you're ready to buy, but you need to sell your condo first. You don't have to make 2 payments. Well, there's a whole new trend called fintech. And what happens is these companies now get rid of the contingent sale problem. So here's what they do. And I want to talk about, Knock has a brand new program called House Swap. And what you can do here is they let you make a non-contingent offers. There are actually some companies out there, of course, who will buy your house, but I want to focus on this new version of this fintech from Knock, because what they do is a little bit different from the companies that come in and buy your home and then you get the cash to pay all cash. This is different. What they're going to do, they call it their Home Swap program. And it lets you make a non-contingent offer. So they will advance you up to 6 months of payments on your mortgage, plus another $25,000 to do repairs on your house so that you get the highest return on that. So this lets you go on, make a so you don't have to sell your house first. You can get that new mortgage that you want on your property. You can move, they sell, you get your house sold. This works out really well. So Greg, that's something that I know I'm very excited about. Was that something that you might use? You've dealt with Open Door and some of these other companies in the past.
What I like about this so much is that it's a great marketing opportunity. You could say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you work with me, obviously asterisk, 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 there's going to be an opportunity where I can front you 6 months of mortgage, and I can give you, I can negotiate up to $25,000 in money that you can help fix up your home. Would you like to sit down and learn about this?
So Greg, this is a great idea that you just came up with. And again, a lot of people are nervous about listing their home without finding the replacement. This is the cure. It's something you would use. So, I mean, and I would too. I think it makes sense. You know, I want to get that next house, but I don't necessarily want to have to sell first. So I think that's a
Right.
huge takeaway that you can share. That's campaign number 3.
Well, I had
Now,
a client of mine that actually got stuck in that problem, and they were homeless for about 5 months and had to bounce around to different Airbnbs. It was miserable for them. And this would eliminate the entire thing, and it just moved forward. I love it. Absolutely love it.
you know, I love this program. Okay, campaign number 4, need to buy, sell, or lease an investment property or second home. And there are a couple of very interesting things going on right now. First of all, there's something called isolation tourism. And what this references is, you know, and this is something we've seen for many years. This is not a new notion, just tying it to COVID, is we've got the snowbirds that come down from Canada or from, you know, like, you know, the colder parts of the country. They go to Arizona, or, you know, places in the South where it's warm during the winter time. But what we're seeing right now, we've got this exit going on from the, as we talked about earlier, from the urban environments into things where people can drive. We're seeing a lot of activity in the second home market,
Mhm.
and there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there. In fact, there's 7.2 million second homes, and right now, 2.2 million of them are listed. This is from AirDNA. In fact, Greg, you've worked with AirDNA. You've looked up, what did you find when you looked at what they do? Because this is a resource that you need to have. So what you're going to be doing is you'll want to be giving options to that person who has that second home, that investment property. So what does AirDNA do?
They give you a good breakdown, and I think there's a paid version, that's also a free version. That's the one I was messing with. But it was fascinating to look at just my marketplace and look at units like mine and what they're renting per square foot, what the average night is, because then what you do, you take that data, now you can present it to potential buyers when they look in these different marketplaces, and they look at it as their return on investment. Like, what's their cap rate going to be? It's a financial decision, not an emotional decision. And when you show up to an investor and say, hey, Miss Bernice Ross, I know you're a heavy investor. I have a 5 cap, a 6 cap, a 7 cap, and an 8 cap. These are the different conditions. Which one would you like to buy? This is the nightly rate. This is what you could expect on a monthly return. Here's what your mortgage would be. What do you think? I want all of them, Greg. Okay, let's go.
Well, what's fascinating, Greg, is that what we're seeing right now, and several people talked about this over the course of Connect Now, is the idea that people are, they are now deliberately, going and renting long-term to see if they want to buy a second home in this area to be able to get away from the city. And if they can work remotely, why be in the city with the costs and the hassles and everything? And when I can have all this space, I can be out in nature. It can be something really wonderful.
Yeah.
So like, for example, San Francisco, a lot of movement over to Lake Tahoe. Apparently, nationally, lakefront properties are very, very popular right now. People are wanting to be around lakes. So, again, just getting away from the hustle and bustle. Now, as part of this, there's a different aspect, on this buy or sell or lease an investment property or second home. There's a company called Rental Beast. What they have done is they have created an off MLS listing service specifically designed for rentals. Currently, according to Ije Grinberg, who is the founder and the CEO of Rental Beast, he says there's $12 billion in potential commissions locked up in the rental market that we as realtors normally don't get access to. And what they list there, they take, individual homeowner listings, so if you've got clients who have investment properties, second homes they want to list, or if they're looking for these things, this is a place to go to. But they also get listings from property managers that we normally don't have. Now, Greg, you looked at this. What did you find when you investigated Rental Beast?
So when we were going over this right now, my mind started working, and I thought of this. Okay, so wait, we're seeing them exit out of major metropolises, right? Them coming into the burbs or going into rural. So you could easily market this, and I'm going to get to Bernice's question in a second, but I will tie these two in together because you can easily market these services. Hey, thinking about moving out of San Francisco or Oakland or LA or New York or Chicago or Houston, whatever you want to say, right? And then you say, why don't you come and check out blah, blah, blah neighborhood, look what you can get for a rent. Because if people are going to rent there and really try to figure out if they like it 6 or 12 months, really kind of get their feet underneath them, this is a beautiful opportunity to create an offer no one else can get. And here's the cool part. The thing I liked about this site so much is to the fact of like, well, you can't make any money with rentals. It's like $200, right? I mean, who's going to do that? No. Majority of the time, what I found on Rental Beast, and again, do your own research, is that you will get paid a full month rent as your commission. Now, there are going to be exceptions, but for just giggles, I pulled up from $3,000 to $5,000 just to see what I would see, right? Well, I pulled that up for San Francisco and Walnut Creek, where I live, and there were 7,404 listings. I'm like, holy mackerel, that's a lot of listings. But if you look at this and you get $4,500, $3,200, $5,000 for putting a person in a rental program, well, think about it. You do 3 rentals at 5 Gs, that's $15,000. That's a $300,000. Is that $300,000 a year? I mean, no, but it's a lot of money, guys. And you could do this, building that now you have a client in a house that needs to buy something after they get done renting, put them into your follow-up system. You're making money, building relationships, and it's like what, $700 a year for this thing to have access to all these rentals you could never get your hands on. That's a gold mine. I will partake in this. I think there's a huge value add here.
Well, Greg, that takes us to campaign number 5. Do you need down payment assistance? And this campaign never goes out of style. Now, we did a really great interview with Rob Crane, who's the CEO of downpaymentresource.com. Again, this is downpaymentresource.com. And what they do is they aggregate all the down payment assistance programs in the United States. And then they have identified which programs go with which houses, what they'll qualify for, or what you can qualify for, which programs you're eligible for just by going online, or you can do this for them. But the next step is, and here's what you need to understand. Their average amount of down payment assistance is $13,000. That's what it was last year, $13,000. That can be interest rate reductions. It can be, sometimes it's actual grants of money, or it can be help with a loan and they waive the loan after, the amount of down payment assistance, they waive it after you've been in the property for 5 years. Mm-hmm. The people who qualify for it are teachers, firefighters. It can be, they've got all kinds of affordability programs. FHA, of course, is included. There's lots of things out here, but $13,000, that's a lot.
It is a lot. And, with people, just when I tell them about, the down payment resource and all these programs, there's thousands of them. I think like 83 or something % of them are fully funded or ready to be used. And I asked them, like, why? I've been doing this business for 21 years. Why have I never heard about this? He's like, that's our biggest problem. It's just getting the word out. So there's no gimmicks. There's no scams. It's just, he laughed at that one because I had to ask. And he's like, no, it's 100% above board. I'm like, this is a literal game changer. I mean, think about going into LinkedIn, go to the navigator, the lead generator navigator in LinkedIn, and you can go get all the nurses, police, doctors, teachers. You can find all these people in LinkedIn, and you can send them messages and talk directly to them. Hey, thinking about buying? I got a down payment program specifically for fill in the blank that could give you up to fill in the blank down payment assistance. Would you like to talk? I mean, what an opportunity there.
And the thing that's great, even in areas like San Francisco or Seattle or, in a lot LA, there are a lot of programs that you can layer on top of each other. So you've got a firefighter married to a teacher, or one of them's ex-military, you could do 3 programs essentially. Yeah. So Greg, final takeaway from today's session.
Bernice, I don't have one final takeaway. I can't have one final takeaway. You did a wonderful job on this article, and there's so much meat on this bone that I think, guys, be careful of this. And I want to be really clear on this. I don't want you to do all of them. I really don't. I want you to pick your number one that resonates with you the most, and I want you to put it into action today. Now, what I want you to do as well is I want you to make a comment below, and I want you to tell us what you did, how it worked out, because Bernice and I we thrive on bringing content like this. We are research hounds. We love to go out there and find this stuff, disseminate it down, bring it to you in bite-sized pieces, so you don't have to do the research. We'll do it for you. Just put it into action and show us the good news. Bernice, any final thoughts for you?
Well, I just, again, with what we just said, there's that old quote from Lao Tzu: a journey of 10,000 miles begins with a single step. The thing that you want to do now and going forward, look for that one thing that will differentiate you from the competition. Take action on that, implement that, and then go to the next one. It's one step over a period of time that makes a difference. Thanks for being with us today. See you next time.